So competitors line up for the start of the K2 classes. From the left, the white canoe of Simon van Lonkhuizen and Adam Streven. Then it's Morgan Cooper and Martin Hearns. Beside them in the orange cap, German paddlers Maro Poffler and Ulrich Steiger. 76 canoes getting underway in this group. The early leaders in the green canoe are the German pair of Poffler and Steiger. Behind them is the yellow canoe of the Irish paddlers Cooper and Hearns. Outside them, Simon van Lonkhuizen and Adam Streven.
The German crew are first over the weir. Let's see how they do.
5,000 metres gone, Poffler and Steiger are first to strap and weir. This the first test, of course, of rough water skills. Let's see how they get on. Yes, safely through. But here, Van Lonkhuizen and Streven are offline, and they've lost their second position to Rob Olliard and Gavin Tarr from South Africa. Oh, Cooper and Hearns have capsized, and they're passed by another South African crew. Then it's the Tordoff, last year's winners. The white boat, Paul and Matthew Enoch. Then the red helmeted Paul Stern with Steve Mayhew. Up ahead, the K2 leaders. First, the South Africans, Olliard and Tarr. Then the Irish pair, Van Lonkhuizen and Streven. The gap back to the Tordoff brothers. Then it's von Mansberg and Byrne. Now the start of the K1 senior and veteran classes. 81 entries here in the white cap. Last year's runner-up, John Meyer. Beside him, Malcolm Banks. Behind the rubber dinghy, it's Gary Meyer, Ireland's bronze medalist from the World Cup Marathon at Santander in Spain. Then it's Asa Cooper, David Francis, and Fergus Cooper. Oh, and look what's happened. Francis has gone already, caught out by the wash from that rubber dinghy. He won't be happy with that. But first away is John Meyer, then it's Malcolm Banks. Behind him on the far side, challenging for second position, Peter Connor. In fourth, the white boat of Fergus Cooper. And here it is, strap and weir. First, John Meyer on the Irish Olympic squad, a competitor from the World Championships in Spain. Second is Peter Connor from the Salmon Leaf Canoe Club. And there's Fergus Cooper. He won the K1 class in 1993 and just gone through in the red boat, Gary Meyer. Conor Maloney, he's gone, and so too is Shane Timlin. Out under the bridge at Strappen and a change in the lead. Gary Meyer in the red canoe has powered his way to the front. Behind him it's Peter Connor, then Fergus Cooper, and in fourth place at this stage, Malcolm Banks. Strap and weir again. We're looking at number 307. This is Conor Morrissey making his way delicately through the weir there. And it looks as though he's negotiating. No! Morrissey goes for a swim. Well, David Francis is back in the race after the capsizing incident we saw at the start. This is Robin Love, an old hand at this event, competing in his 30th Liffey descent. K2s in the Kildare countryside. New leaders Alan and Ian Tordoff from Chester Canoe Club in England. Second, Rob Olliard and Gavin Tarr from South Africa. Behind them, the English paddlers Melvin Swallow and Alan Block. And they're followed by another South African crew, Richard von Mansberg and Paul Byrne. And in the background on the bend, the Irish pair, Simon van Lonkhuizen and Adam Streven, lying in fifth place. Michael O'Mara, one of Ireland's top sea kayakers, he leads the whitewater classes over strap and weir. These boats are specially designed for whitewater conditions, and nicely through there. Second, Dalagan O'Driscoll, then it's Neil Blackman, John Ringwood, and the yellow one there, Aidan Devaney. That's Sean Martin, and in the red hat, Jonathan Folland from the British Canoe Union. 5 miles completed, K2 leaders approach Temple Mills. The Tordoff still in front. Second place has been taken by another English crew, Swallow and Block. The South Africans have been dropped. Now they shoot this weir side on to avoid damaging their canoes. Some nice paddle work there as they went over, and both crews going safely through. But we can see here the Tordoff's going slightly offline, and so too Swallow and Block behind them. They've been swept right around by the current, as we can see. Well, that was surprising. They looked to have taken the right line, but got swept away at the last minute, and they're going to lose valuable time here in redirecting their canoe downriver. And already we can see the South Africans, Rob Olliard and Gavin Tarr, they've closed the gap right down. Fourth place, Richard von Mansberg and Paul Byrne. They competed at the World Championships in Duisburg in Germany and the World Marathon Championship in Santander before travelling to Ireland to compete in this event. Back upriver, K1 leader Gary Meyer showing his great pace as he overtakes one of the K2 boats. Vanessa Weir, the Tordoff brothers still ahead. They shoot this weir at 45 degrees to avoid damage to the bow of their canoe. Nice shoot. The chasing crews, the South Africans, Only.avi and Tar, taking a risky line here. Swallow and Block opting for a more cautious route. An interesting contest developing between these two crews. Temple Mills weir again, 592, the Irish crew of Simon van Lonkhuizen and Adam Streven. They opt for the narrow fish slide, no margin for error there if they were to avoid damaging their canoe. And here's Richard von Mansberg and Paul Byrne making a determined bid to get back in touch with the leaders. And here are the Tordoffs chasing their fourth Liffey descent title, members of the British team of course. They competed in World Championships in wild water racing in Britain recently. Very experienced crew, and they have excellent stroke coordination, as we can see as they go under the bridges here at Selbridge. Vanessa Weir, German paddlers Marco Paufler and Ulrich Steiger line 6. They competed here last year, but they damaged the stern on that shoot. South Africans Benjamin and Matthew Cochrane, and above the weir from Nottingham, James Butler and Stephen Bagshaw. Butler won the K1 class in last year's event. But here's the man leading it this year, Gary Meyer at Temple Mills Weir. Nice shoot by Gary, who of course is off to the United States after this event to compete on the Olympic sprint course. The Tordoffs K2 leaders at Castletown Rapids, site of course of the Irish Open Slalom each year. The rapids are spread out over a 1 mile distance. The best route is down the left-hand side of the river. An indication of the gap back to second and third position, Swallow and Block just ahead of Only.avi and Tar. Vanessa Weir, second and third K1s, Malcolm Banks in the blue canoe, and Fergus Cooper, Irish team manager, back from the World Championships beside him, and behind them, Peter Connor from the Salmon Leap Canoe Club. Well, here's another paddler that's damaged his canoe, K1 leader Gary Meyer. Gary is expelling water from the canoe. You can see the water just coming out beside the number on the deck. Gary damaged the steel between the deck and the hull on the slide down Vanessa Weir earlier on. Well, some of the many K2 paddlers battling their way down the Liffey. 743, Kieran Cook and Don O'Brien, and on the left, 237, that's Jerry Hamilton and Brian Casey. Leaslip Lake, the leaders, Alan and Ian Tordoff. They've had a long paddle down the lake. The portage section awaits. Before that, it's under the new M4 motorway bridge. Dramatic scene. Michael O'Mara at the Vanessa Weir. He has dominated the whitewater class right from the start at the Straffin. Right in picture, top of the weir, the leading women's K1, that's Eileen Murphy, and chasing her number 760, Michelle Barry, holder of 7 Liffey Descent women's K1 titles. The Tordoffs on the portage section at Liffey Dam. They haul their canoe out of the water above the dam and run down a 500-meter path, and now they have to slide down this tricky slope to re-enter the river. This can be a very demanding stage of the race for competitors, because they have to adjust from using their arms and upper body to using their legs, which may become a little bit stiff to say the least. A great opportunity for some crews to make up places lost on the water. Only.avi and Tar go through there. Then it's third place, Melvin Swallow and Alan Block. Block competed at the Olympic Games in 1992, but this is his first time at the Liffey Descent. Gary Meyer, K1 leader, between the blue K2 of Scottish paddlers Nigel and Joe Royal, and the yellow canoe is that of Morgan Cooper and Martin Hearns. And behind them, the second and third K1s of Banks and Connor, well, they're closing in on Meyer. What a race it's turning out to be. Well, the K2 leaders, having successfully re-entered the river below Leakslip Dam, their next challenge is the sluice weir, the first weir on the lower section of the river. And here it is, coming out from under the trees on the far left of the weir, the Tordoff brothers. They've opted for the easier but slower shoot, and they're away. You can see the fast water route on the top left where the river flows through a 12-foot gap where the sluice gate once stood. Sluice weir again. Rob Only.avi and Gavin Tar have chosen the quicker water through the sluice gate. Melvin Swallow and Alan Block have taken the slower route. We'll have to wait and see if the South Africans' bravery will result in any time advantage. Now 80% of the river flows through the sluice run, though it's a route only for the very daring K2 paddlers. Swallow and Block still making progress down the far bank. We wait for Only.avi to reappear. And there they are, there in the fast water and pulling away slightly from the English crew. But perhaps more importantly, they've boosted their confidence after that. Well, back at the portage, we have a new leader in the men's K1. Malcolm Banks has taken advantage of Gary Myers' problem. Gary had to stop to empty the water from his canoe and repair the damage with waterproof tape. You may be able to see the black tape at the back of his cockpit. Here's Peter Connor. He's got a problem with his rudder. Receiving plenty of encouragement there. And Fergus Cooper into the thick of it now as well. Luke and Weir, always the dilemma here for K2 crews. If they shoot it at too straight an angle, they can damage the bow. Shoot too sideways, and they might get caught in the stopper. The Tordoffs got away with it there. Ian just checking behind to see where the opposition is. And there they are. Swallow and Block have overtaken Only.avi and Tar. And they nearly got caught by the stopper there, but just get away. And the South Africans have pushed the bow way down under the water. I wouldn't be surprised if they sustained damage after that particular maneuver. And from the wonderful aerial shots we're getting from our chopper camera today, we can see the different routes being chosen by the teams. Swallow and Block moving out to faster water here. Fourth place, Von Mansberg and Byrne, left-hand paddle blades on the weir face to give support. Comfortably through the stopper at the bottom, and away they go. Very relaxed looking indeed. A mile down river from Lucan and a Liffey weir, a straightforward slide down the fish path for the Tordoff. And that's nicely negotiated. Now, real thrill seekers, James Butler and Stephen Bagshaw over the high drop at Lucan. Number 773, Benjamin and Matthew Cochran from Johannesburg Canoe Club. It's their first time competing in the Liffey descent. The first of the two big V weirs, Wren's Nest. Straight down the V is the fastest and most rewarding course. The Tordoff there, perfect line, no problem at all. Now Swallow and Block coming through to this very challenging part of the course. They're a little bit too far to the right and they've been pulled in by the stopper, but just managing to paddle clear. Back at Lucan, K1's Malcolm Banks still leads Gary Meyer. Gary won field fighting his time before making a decisive break over the final stages of the race. Palmerstown Weir, the second big V weir on the course. It awaits the K2s next. Then it's a relatively easy but long paddle to the finish. The big one, Palmerstown Weir, and the Tordoffs need to shoot this dead centre to keep out of trouble and maintain their lead. Well, nice shoot. That's exactly what they've done. And through the standing waves at the bottom. Whitewater leader Michael O'Mara over Lucan. Gary Meyer has got the break. He's gone down the V. Malcolm Banks is taking the slower and less risky course down the face of the weir. And, well, he nearly lost it there. Chapel Lizard Weir, the leaders have gone through. This is the second place crew, Melvin Swallow and James Block. Some of the top crews have fallen out here over the years. The English pair have not done that, but they have lost their momentum. They're facing the wrong direction, as we can see, and losing some valuable seconds. Well, here's an unusual approach to Wren's Nest, and they're very much caught in the stopper. Conor Ryan and David Lynch. Oh, and they're gone at Sluice. Brian Newman and David McAllister Hewlett here, and they're still caught, but at least there's help at hand for them. And here's Jonathan Folland, second whitewater paddler. He's fighting his way out of the stopper, and he's clear. But no such problems up ahead for this crew. K2 winners Alan and Ian Tordoff approach the finish at Trinity Rowing Clubhouse and War Memorial Park. It's their fourth Liffey descent title. The 17.5-mile course completed in 1 hour 48 minutes. Here's Gary Meyer now coming home to win the men's senior K1 title. He looked up the race zone up early on, and then he damaged the canoe at Vanessa, but he came back well after losing the lead to win. A good champion.